General, thank you so much for making the time for us today. Big questions that we have that can only be answered by someone with your pedigree.
Yeah.
Where is the American military as Americans are suffering and dying? I'll preface this by saying our sources on the ground tell us that there are hundreds of bodies, American bodies, still buried in mudslides, and thousands of Americans that could potentially perish still in this storm. Where is the American military?
Yeah. So a couple of things that I want to cover. And Nick Sotor is unbelievable, and being on the ground there and doing what he's doing. I mean, talk about courage. So let me take it to the big picture first, because and then I will take it down to North Carolina and what should be done, what should immediately be done, and we're already a week too late. So big picture, we have over 100 counties, probably around 150 counties, from Apalachicola, Florida, all the way up to the Appalachian Mountains of Western North Carolina. So probably looking at 150 counties, in various states that are in a complete disaster zone. And so this is a federal emergency of epic proportions, of biblical proportions, that the federal government has been totally absent. Okay. I mean, absent. And I have folks that I'm working with right now, and I'll talk a little bit about what we did in North Carolina, what's going on in North Carolina, because people out around the country are, frankly, some around the world are asking where they can help, but certainly people around the country. So the big picture is we got about at least 150 counties that are in a total disaster zone, from northern Florida all the way up to in parts of Tennessee and, of course, North Carolina. In North Carolina, there's over 1,000 dead that have been confirmed to me, with just the body bags that have been filled. There are insufficient numbers of body bags, so there are dead bodies lying aside, and this is mainly up in North Carolina, that is already pushing over 1,000. My guess is that by the time we look at all of what has happened, we're going to be probably somewhere around 2,000 or north of 2,000 dead people. There are still people caught up in the hills of North Carolina and eastern Tennessee that their towns were completely wiped out. They're totally isolated. Homes are gone. And one of the things I want people to understand is that one of the things that you consider for humanitarian disaster recovery and relief operations, one of the first things you look at is the terrain and the weather conditions that are impending, right? So at nighttime right now up in the mountains of North Carolina, I'm very familiar with this area. I've trained up in there. I've been up in there many times in my experiences in the military, especially at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I won't call it the other name, but Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which I will talk to in a second here with the potential deployment of other resources that the government has. So the weather conditions right now are wet. They are, because it's misty at nighttime, it rains at night. We're looking at weather temperatures that are in the low 30s. And in another week or two, certainly by the end of this month, we're going to start to see freezing conditions, possibly even an early snow in the mountains of North Carolina, where these people are still walking around with nothing. So because I want to talk about what types of resources need to be brought to bear and the things that I know that are being done. So the big picture is we're going to probably be north of 2,000 dead. We have at least 150 counties, maybe 200 counties, from northern Florida all the way up into western North Carolina that are in this disaster zone. The federal government has done nothing.